Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer. Back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019. It is Wednesday, that means it's a Wargame Wednesday. And tonight I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at the last 100 yards from GMT Games. This is a company level, I believe, World War II war game. Looks kind of interesting, Do want to point out that this is episode 307 of The Daily Dope. Chat is available because this is a live show. That's why it's so different than just about anything else that's out there about tabletop gaming. So, chat is available. Yes, Rob Moffat's already in chat. He was in chat a few seconds before I started the show because he's all pumped for Wargame Wednesday. So yes, in fact, it's like, yeah, baby. So, as I mentioned, chat is available on YouTube. It is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. But I do pay attention to the chat. So if you'd like to say hello, or maybe you have a question, or maybe there's something about the last 100 yards you want to get a closer look at while I'm doing my unboxing, by all means, chime in. I will respond. So yes, hello, Rob. Good to see you. I knew you'd be hanging out for a Wargame Wednesday. So, do want to point out, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And of course, don't forget to ring that little bell, because not only will that notify you when there's a new video on the channel, it also points out to you when the show goes live, usually within 5 minutes or so. And of course, please tell a friend, not just about the Gaming Gang channel here on YouTube, but also thegaminggang.com, because there is so much that goes on that is not on the show, that is over on the website. So, and of course, don't forget to tell a friend, or better yet, tell two. So, I got a big show tonight. There's a good amount of news. Gonna actually tackle a couple of emails that I got. I think I'll tackle the first email right before I jump in, because we'll have a few people popping into chat probably within the next few minutes or so. As a matter of fact, there we go. There's Viper Dave popping in. Good to see you, Viper Dave. So Rob Moffat's asking, how are my cubbies doing? They're doing really well still. They are still in first place. At least I didn't look this morning, but they actually beat the Phillies last night in the bottom of the ninth. They come back walk-off, so that was very nice. Very, very cool. So anyway, so I get an email today. One of the two emails I'm going to talk a little bit about today. And one of the emails was asking about my review last night that I did of Traveler Ascension Imperial Warrant. And they got the impression I didn't like the game. And I gave it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 means I enjoyed it. It's good. It's not great. It's not fabulous. And I also pointed out that the main problem is the rules are kind of open to interpretation on a lot of stuff. Okay, not a lot of stuff, but a good number of things. So please keep in mind, a 7 out of 10 does not mean it's a bad game. Even if I scored something a 5, 5.5, that means probably somebody out there is going to like it. When we start getting below 5, that's when we're talking about like really broken mechanics and maybe like just crappy quality or just utter garbage, like that, what was it called? Family Baggage or something like that I reviewed years ago. It wasn't a video review. It was a written review, and it was just horrible. It was just garbage. So we've got Paul Nolan popping in. Good to see you, Paul. We've got Hubcam 210. For a second, I almost said 2010. Hubcam 210. Hello. Welcome aboard. You are a first timer. I do not recognize that handle there, that nickname. So welcome aboard. So yeah, so just keep in mind when I give a review and it's a 7 out of 10, it means it's good. It's worth picking up. It's not a must-have or anything like that. Plus, I had pointed out if you're a big Traveler fan, you would probably want to pick up Imperial Warrant anyway, right, Paul Nolan? So, do want to mention there is news tonight. I've got quite a bit of news. We're going to talk a bit about Fallout Wasteland Warfare. There's a bunch of new miniatures that are coming. Got some images. I'm going to share those because they look pretty sweet. That's just one of the news pieces I've got. So, before I get into the news... Oh, so hang on one sec. Rob Moffat says last 100 yards is on his buy radar. All right, so we'll have to take a peek. And yes, who, me? Paul Nolan? Yes, you, Paul Nolan. Before I jump into the news, do want to point out that Wargame Wednesdays are sponsored by two companies, one man. Yes, that's right. Mark H. Walker. I'm even wearing my Flying Pig Games t-shirt underneath this. Yes, because the Daily Dope on Wednesdays is sponsored by both Flying Pig Games and Tiny Battle Publishing. Coming soon, I believe it's going to go to Kickstarter, is going to be Old School Tactical Volume 3, which is the Pacific, which is going to be very, very cool. And of course, from Tiny Battle Publishing, I'm supposed to be seeing Tango Down. Tango Down should be on its way. There's supposed to be a few different things that are on its way. I am going to shoot a standalone video where I'm going to take a look at Yeah Magazine number 12. But if you are looking for both big, epic, meaty combat simulation games or smaller footprint games of all different genres, please take a peek at Flying Pig Games as well as Tiny Battle Publishing. Okay, so let me grab a sip here and we'll jump into the news. Crowbar, baby. Yeah, I am wondering if Crowbar is coming out at Origins. Because my buddy Herman Lutman had popped out, had commented in an email that they were going to have, I think, one of his games that I think is coming from Tiny Battle Publishing, but he didn't mention anything about Crowbar. The Rangers at Point du Hoc, which is a big, epic version of Herman's Victory Point game title, which was, it's Gettysburg. It's Pickett's Charge. Now I can't think of the name. In Magnificent Style. So yes, that's where Crowbar actually originated, I should say. Although Crowbar looks nothing like In Magnificent Style, I should point out. So, let's jump on into the news. Crowbar and duct tape will let you rule that zombie apocalypse camp. Yes, it will. So, there is a new Kickstarter that just launched for Stronghold Games today, and I've got the dope. The air wavers in the afternoon heat as the sun beats down on the smooth waters of the Nile. The Pharaoh has sent down an edict to you, his best builders. He requires monuments, not just one, but 5 glorious monuments in his name, so that he will be remembered throughout all time. The builder whose work most pleases him shall be given not only riches, but fame and honor beyond all imagining. So gather your resources, organize your crews, and adorn the banks of the Nile with marble and gold. Egizia, Shifting Sands Edition, is an updated version of the beloved strategy game Egizia. Players travel down the Nile, placing boats as they go to collect resources that will help them construct some of Egypt's most famous monuments. With new monuments to build, new cards to collect, and a constantly shifting river, Egizia Shifting Sands Edition is a streamlined, modern update that both longtime fans and new players can easily pick up and enjoy. Do want to mention Stronghold Games has a quick Kickstarter video. It's not even a minute and a half. But let's, you know what? I better fix this video because I got down here at the last minute and I forgot to set this up as the video. So a different video is going to start and then the right one will. So hang on. Igizia Shifting Sands Edition is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in about 90 minutes. You can reserve a copy of the game by making a $39 pledge through June 9th. The expected delivery is in November. And Rob Moffat's pointing out that his wife digs ancient Egypt. I actually have played the original Igizia. Elliot Miller, my best friend over at voiceofe.com, he owns it. So I have played that a few times. It's been a long time, but I have played it a few times. I do want to point out this special Kickstarter edition is going to include a dual-sided board. So it's going to have the original game on one side of the board and then this new Shifting Sands edition on the other side of the board. So I see Paul and Robert talking about the music from that video. Fingers crossed I do not get a copyright notice. Because normally when I have a video for a Kickstarter, I upload it to YouTube first to see if it flags it. I didn't do it with this one. So how much you want to bet I'll get something saying, you gotta get rid of that song! Never fails. So, moving right along to our next news piece. The latest in the Exit game line is coming soon from Thames Kosmos, and I've got the dope. After the mysterious disappearance of a friend in the catacombs of Paris, you set out on an eerie search through the subterranean labyrinth. Can you succeed in finding your friend and rescuing him from the underground world of dark secrets before it's too late? If it's me, no, probably not. I probably would not figure anything out, and my friend would be a goner. It's an unforgettable, unique gaming experience. Work together to solve all the riddles as quickly as you can. The game can only be played once. To solve the riddles, you'll have to write on, fold, and cut the game materials. This makes it possible to have especially diverse riddles. The paper and cardboard components are recyclable. Okay, I would think if they're paper and cardboard, wouldn't they automatically be recyclable? Exit Catacombs of Paris is for 1 to 4 players, ages 16 and up, plays in 2 to 4 hours, and it will carry an MSRP of $24.95 when it arrives on June 10th. So Rob Moffat says, uh-oh, what music? I didn't hear anything. Anyway, it's funny. Now, I can't remember the young woman's name off the top of my head, but I had interviewed her from Cosmos at Gen Con, and we were talking about the various different games and Cosmos is trying to have a much larger presence here in North America. And I guess these Exit games are big. They sell really well for them. And when I was talking to her, there was, after the interview, somebody was saying, oh man, $25-30 for a game you only play once. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like a great deal. And I thought to myself, well, if you go to the movies with a family of 4, that's going to run you $40 just walking in the door usually, right? So, not such a bad deal. I am not into these escape rooms and things like that. Just not my kind of thing. Not my kind of thing. But might be your kind of thing. That's why I'm sharing it on the news. All right, so I had mentioned there are a huge number of minis coming to, I keep wanting to just say Fallout Warfare. It is Fallout Wasteland Warfare from Modiphius Entertainment. I've got the dope. First off, we've got the Nuka Girl. That's right, leaping from promotional material of Nuka-Cola onto the battlefield, armed with her powerful Thirst Zapper pistol with variable ammo types. Nuka Girl has arrived. Well, she'll be arriving in September and carry an MSRP of $13. Then there's the Raiders core set. Ruthless and aggressive, gangs of raiders can be found across the wasteland, scavenging and stealing to survive. Led by the strongest and most cunning among them, veteran raiders have often managed to piece together rusting suits of scrap power armor. Raiders being a mix of cheap and somewhat disposable troops armed with basic scrap-ranged weapons and blades. Chem-crazed psychos race to close with the enemy and tear them apart in melee, or else send their foes reeling with grenades. Meanwhile, the savvy scavers hang back and pick off chosen targets with accurate rifle fire. These will be available in August and carry an MSRP of $52.99. Then we get Ak, Sinjin, and Avery. Whether through strength, intelligence, or plain dumb luck, some raiders survive everything the wasteland throws at them and come back for more. Sinjin and his right-hand woman Avery head up a gang of raiders that often cause trouble in the Good Neighbor area, bringing high-ranged ability to the table and some unique buffs to support their followers. They make good leader choices for any game. Ak and her gang set up base in the Olivia satellite station. Known for her raids on local farms and settlements, she's always punctuated by the rapid fire of her favorite minigun. This set will arrive in August and carry an MSRP of $33.99. Then we've got a pack which is Raiders, Scavers, and Psychos. As a raider gang gains notoriety, it swells with new recruits. These include the desperate survivors or even victims of previous raids, to scavengers and mercenaries who throw in their lot with the roaming gangs. With numbers come the chance to attack stronger targets, resulting in better loot, new weapons, and scrap to increase the power of a raider gang, allowing them to carve out small empires in the ruins of civilization. These arrive in August, carrying an MSRP of $44.99. We do have Assaultatrons and Protectatrons, which unfortunately there are no images for this. But the ruins, bunkers, and factories of the wasteland often remain under the watchful gaze of those left behind to guard them. The Protectron was designed to fill a variety of roles and may be found patrolling long-forgotten shops and facilities, waiting for an emergency call out that will never come, or attending on customers long routed away. While not intended for combat, they may catch an unwary off guard. Deployed to support the U.S. military forces, Assaultrons were left to roam after the bombs fell, and can often be found still patrolling the checkpoints and convoys they were assigned to. One of the fastest and most deadly adversaries you may stumble across, their powerful melee attacks and head-mounted lasers make short work of anything they perceive as a threat. These arrive in September at $39 for MSRP. We've got ghouls. Not everyone caught in the blast of the bombs was annihilated. Some poor souls instead were irradiated and mutated into the disturbing creatures known as ghouls. While a precious few ghouls retain their consciousness and humanity, most evolve into ravenous and relentless scavengers that haunt the ruins of their former homes or places of work. These feral ghouls shuffle aimlessly through the deserted streets until they see a living target, at which point they spring into ferocious hunters that run screaming at their unfortunate prey to tear it limb from limb. Worse than even these, glowing ones emit radiation that saps the life of any who cross their path, notable by the green glow that emits from their heavily irradiated bodies. They are best avoided on sight or else picked off by accurate long-range gunfire. These arrive in October and carry an MSRP of $36. 2 sets left, gang. We've got the Wasteland Vermin. The falling bombs didn't just mutate the humans it fell on. Numerous species of insect, bird, and animal were changed by the radiation and are now barely recognizable from their pre-war forms. Though individually weak, packs of mole rats can burrow underground and ambush survivors from unexpected quarters. Their sharp fangs can cause wounds that fester. Ooh, hate when that happens. Swarms of radroaches infest the dark, damp corners of the ruins of civilization. More nuisance than true threats, they can usually be stomped underfoot, but watch out for the glowing radioactive variants. These arrive in October for $34. Then finally, we've got the X-01 Survivor and Dog Meat. The most advanced armor available, X-01 armor provides excellent protection against physical, energy, and radiation damage. Any survivor, Brotherhood of Steel Knight, or Raider who chances across a suit will become a force to be reckoned with. Dog Meat can be armored up as well, with his dog armor providing a little extra protection, though at the cost of some speed to this most faithful of companions. These will arrive in September and carry an MSRP of $27. I love the armored dog meat. I think that is excellent. And yes, was it Paul Nolan who? Oh, no, it was Rob. Rob said, time to call Mad Max. There is a mini. It's part of the Raiders, Scavers, whatever set. And it is sculpted to look like the guy who's like he's not the main baddie in Road Warrior, but he's like the main lieutenant. So let's wait till this comes back around, because he's got the mohawk. He's got like almost like the football pad on the side of his shoulder. So yeah, come on. There he is, right there in the center with the red mohawk. He's got like a rifle. I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, sweet. And of course, as I mentioned, my nephew Cameron is loving Fallout Wasteland Warfare. He had a bunch of his friends over last night. They were playing it. So I'm a good uncle. I give good graduation presents. What can I say? All right, let's keep talking about miniatures, because if you watched yesterday's show, you knew there was tons of news about Dungeons and Dragons, but I didn't share all of it because in August, WizKids will be releasing a new Dungeons and Dragons Icons of the Realms series to coincide with Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, and here's the dope. D&D Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus features several new devils and demons for players to add to their collections. In this infernal collection of miniatures, players will find many of the enemies and allies featured in Descent into Avernus. Battle the most powerful, of the Legion Devils, the Pit Fiend. Come face to face with demons like Grabrezu and Miragon. Join forces with fellow adventurers like Ray of Dawn. You may even challenge the fallen angel Zerial herself. Collect all 45 figures from Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, the newest set of randomly sorted monsters and heroes in this exciting line of D&D miniatures, Icons of the Realm. You can get this by the brick, and each brick contains 8 booster boxes, and each booster box contains 4 figures total. 1 large or huge figure, and 3 medium or small figures. There are 4 bricks in a case. Booster boxes will carry an MSRP of $15.99. Icons of the Realm's Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus Infernal War Machine, which is the premium figure that you're seeing as well, will carry an MSRP of $69.99. And these are arriving in August, which I find kind of interesting because the adventure itself doesn't come out until September. It's a little strange there, because normally WizKids kind of lines up their miniature releases to be right about the same exact time as the adventures or new releases come out. So if you were watching yesterday, I was talking about these infernal machines that are supposed to be a big part of this new adventure supplement as the player characters engage in the blood wars on a new plane, Avernus. This is what they look like. And I said it's kind of like they look like tanks, but they almost look like they're made out of like helmets. But I do know that this miniature for this infernal machine is, I think, over 11 inches long. So that's a pretty good sized mini. And my final news piece. For those out there who are enjoying Cubicle 7 Entertainment's 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, you should be interested. There's a new PDF on Drive-Thru RPG, and I've got the dope on Buildings of the Reichland. Buildings of the Reichland presents 11 exhaustively detailed locations to add to your Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay campaigns. Stuffed with useful descriptions, interesting NPCs, and detailed maps, Buildings of the Reichland provides everything needed to immediately add any of its new buildings to your games of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. All locations offer a variety of adventure hooks to ensure they can be seamlessly introduced to your Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay campaigns, meaning that they can inspire many sessions of gaming with very little effort. including everything from a fortified farmstead and a fragrant cheesemonger in Ubersreich to an isolated troll gate. Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. It's an isolated toll gate, coaching in, and a wayside shrine to the goddess Raya. There's sure to be something of use in any Warhammer Fantasy roleplay game. The buildings of the Reichland includes Herbert Hartzer's Cheesemonger of Distinction, the Olden Holler Warehouse, Limburg's Farm. Wouldn't that be the cheese guy? Limburg, right? Right? Widow Herkel's Boarding House, the Pouncing Pegasus Inn, the Drum and Hat Tavern, Hertzkleen Lock and Lockkeeper's House, the Signal Tower, Pfeiffer Tollgate, Welland Temple of Sigmar, the Dicedorf Table. This is written by Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay regulars Andy Law, Andrew Leake, and Clive Oldfield. Buildings of the Reichland is a perfect addition for any gaming library. It not only adds many new exciting places for players to visit, it also provides a handy template for creating your own versions of these commonly encountered locations, meaning the maps can be used again and again and again. This 16-page PDF is available right now on DriveThruRPG for $3.99. And as I like to mention when we talk about DriveThruRPG, yes, thegaminggang.com, thus the Daily Dope, is an affiliate of the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're swinging over to, say, DriveThruRPG, or maybe you're going to Wargame Vault, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, just click on one of our banners. It'll take you right to the sites. If you make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale, and it all adds up. Paul Nolan's talking about evil gnome tinkerers were making those infernal machines. All right, so before we jump into the unboxing of the last 100 yards, just a couple things on the agenda. What's coming up on the show the rest of this week, what's going on next week, and even what's coming on. So Rob Moffat starts laughing, says, Jeff said Wargame Vault. Yeah, but that's what it's called, isn't it? Wargame Vault? I thought. Am I wrong? I hardly ever go over there, to be honest. I know. You know, I own the rights to Knights and Magic, the miniature system, which I'm going to try to talk to Mark H. Walker at Origins if he's interested in maybe working together to roll that out. Like, because I was trying to update it for years, just never have the time. But I actually sell it as a PDF, and I keep kicking myself. It's like I'm like, one of these days I have to submit it over to Wargame Vault, because probably sell more copies of it than I do now. But anyway, okay, Rob Moffat's saying that was his Beavis and Butthead impersonation, the Wargame Vault. Anyway, so what's coming up on the show tomorrow? Unless something incredible pops up in the mail, which actually sometimes happens, we're going to be taking a look at Cyberpunk 2020. This is the second edition. This is from Untitled Games, so that'll be on tomorrow's show. Then, on Friday's show, I will be reviewing Warfighter. This is the modern edition from Dan Verson Games. Yes, that's right. 2 war games in 1 week. And then on Monday's show, I will be reviewing Shalia, Warring States, which is going to be coming to Kickstarter on June 5th. After that, it's kind of up in the air what's going on next week, because I am going to have to fly out to Arizona and drive back with my mom, because she is moving from the Phoenix area back to the Chicago area. So I'm driving. So that is going to it's going to take a few days. So and then I have to point out that on June 3rd there will not be a show, because I will be at Wrigley Field with Elliot Miller watching the Cubs take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Isn't that their full name now, I think? The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So I will be watching the Cubbies play. But Paul Nolan's asking, where do I sell Knights and Magic? It's on the website. There should still be an ad on like the interior page. So if you go look at any of the articles, there should be the ad for it. I'm pretty sure there's an ad on the main landing page of the website as well. I have, no. Paul Nolan says I looked like I wanted to say Dodgers. No, I know who we're playing. I shouldn't say we. I'm not one of these sports fans, and I am a big sports fan. I'm not one of these sports fans who say things like, "Oh, we beat the Packers last week." It's like, we beat the Packers. No, I was not on the field. I had nothing to do with it. The Bears beat the Packers, or the Cubs beat the Brewers. Not, we did it. I had nothing to do with the 2016 World Series, except for cheering them on and freaking out. But, outside of that. But, so next week, not a full week of shows. I will try to shoot some standalone videos like I did for Monday for the actual, the look at Fallout, Wasteland Warfare, Brotherhood of Steel set. So we'll see what's cooking. We'll see what happens. So anyway, all right. And of course, what's that? Little Whizbub? We haven't seen Little Whizbub in a while. Yes, it's the Little Whizbub down here to remind you that if you like the GamingGang.com, if you like the Gaming Gang channel on YouTube, if you dig the Daily Dope Show, then by all means, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Yes, that's right. Lil Bub's Big Fund does award grant monies to organizations around the United States that care for special needs animals who are awaiting adoption. These are not funds going to kill shelters or anything like that. These pets might require medications. They might be deaf. They might be blind. They may have mobility issues. They may just be long in the tooth like yours truly. But they still deserve loving homes. And that's what Lil Bub's Big Fund is all about. So, if you make a small donation, shoot me an email, and I will, of course, give you a shout-out on the following show. And, of course, you can just shoot the email to jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com. In fact, do you ever have a question, or maybe you want me to take a look at something in particular? Don't hesitate to shoot me an email. It's no big deal. Or you can always go to Twitter. It is @thegaminggang. And just tweet me, shoot me a message. You got to be like a follower. But anyway, so Rob Moffat says, yes, baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet. Wasn't it grandma? Wasn't it baseball, grandma, apple pie, and Chevrolet? I seem to remember that was, recall that was actually the ad. All right, so I am sure folks are going to be popping in to take, so Paul Nolan says, I have a question I've been wanting to ask since I found your show. Fire away, Paul. I'm sure somebody will be making a comment on the video. I can't believe it's like 35 minutes into the video and you still haven't shown me the game. So no, that's okay. Fire away, Paul. It's cool. That's what chat's for. Baseball, hot dogs, baseball, apple pie. I don't know. Maybe it was hot dogs, but I could have swore there was grandma in that. So, anyway, just waiting for Paul. Oh, over my right shoulder, that big AEG box, the really big AEG box. It's Thunderstone Quest. Big thumbs up. That was the Kickstarter block. I joke around and say that it's like a block, because it is. It's almost a cube. There's almost a cube. But yes, that's what that is. That is the Thunderstone Quest box there. So yeah, yes, very good game. Really, really enjoy that. Part of the thing too is, as a reviewer, you get a lot of different stuff. I mean, I don't get as much stuff as a lot of other reviewers out there, but just so busy usually trying to get new stuff, new reviews out there that really good games sometimes sit on your shelf and don't get played all that often. Especially Thunderstone Quest takes a little bit of time to play. It takes about 90 minutes. So, but yeah, it's actually really good. Yes, and the Dark Sands box. Yes, the Dark Sands is up there. That is over my shoulder as well. Paul Owen says, yeah, I recall Grandma being part of it too. That Chevy song. I don't know. I have no idea. All right, so as I started to say, I'm sure folks are tuning in because they want to take a peek at the last 100 yards from GMT Games. Designed by Mike Denson, who I am not familiar with. I have not heard of Mike before. With artwork provided by Darius Burzowski. I don't know. Sorry, Darius. Charles Kibler, Roger B. McGowan, and Liz Stefanoff. The game is for 2 players. Probably ages about 14 and up. Not sure about the playtime. Probably about 2 hours. It does carry an MSRP of $59 even. This is actually little low on the MSRP from GMT Games. I thought $59. I was like, well, hey, it's a little bit less than usual. So let's move on over to the other camera. So here we go. We've got the 100 yards here. This just showed up in the mail yesterday. I just got this yesterday along with Command & Colors Medieval, which if I am not gone on Wednesday of next week, I think we will probably take a look at that on next week's Wednesday show, unless I am, of course, in Arizona. But let's flip this on over because this looks pretty sweet. So it says playing time 2 to 5 minutes per game turn. Okay. 1 to 2 players. So there is some solitaire. Must be some solitaire rules in here. So let's get rid of some of the shrink wrap here. And of course, I get that glare that pops up from the angle I'm sitting at because of the way the lighting is. So I have to kind of move my head around to be able to read the box. So let's see what we've got here. The last 100 yards introduces innovative systems intended to model small unit behavior in combat during World War II. It is fun, fast-paced, and provides a very good simulation of what it was like to command combat units at the platoon or company level. The game is purposely designed to force many decisions upon you as you command an infantry platoon or company in Western Europe. And then there's a bunch of different stuff here. So we're not gonna read everything on the back of the box. But it is squad level. I knew that. So let's crack this open because, as I mentioned yesterday when I kind of showed it off for a minute, I thought, this kind of has a bit of a squad leader look to it. I mean, it did. Especially the maps. When I saw the board on the back there, I thought, that really looks like kind of a squad leader map, doesn't it? Okay, so let's crack this on open. So we've got the GMT baggies. So that means we're not going to be seeing any chit tray in here. So we've got the GMT baggies. We have 4 10-sided dice. Cool beans. All different colors, too. We've got the rules of play, so we're going to dig into those. Move this off to the side here. Let's take a look at these rules of play. Hey, cool. We got a playbook as well. Ooh, looks like we got big chunky counters. Pretty good sized counters. They look like they might be 3/4 inch counters. Okay, so as we dive on in, I'm going to grab a sip here. So Rob Moffat says, love me some tactical small unit games. I dig those as well. Like I said, if you watch the show, I had pointed out that, yeah, I've played anything from Squad Leader to Conflict of Heroes. I never played Advanced Squad Leader. I pointed that out before. At least I don't remember it being Advanced Squad Leader. But yeah, I like small scale, just like miniatures games. I kind of dig skirmish level games as well. But then again, I like big epic games too. So I painted thousands of 15 millimeter American Civil War minis and based them and everything else. All right, so we got the introduction. It says there is unfortunately little historical narrative today regarding the thousands of small unit actions that occurred during World War II, except for the memories of those who were there. The Last 100 Yards, or LHY, is an attempt to recreate these small engagements. The game introduces new and innovative systems to model small unit behavior in combat. LHY provides a very good simulation of what it might have been like to command combat units at the platoon or company level. The game is purposely designed to deliver a brisk yet intense experience that forces many decisions upon you as a leader of an infantry company in Western Europe after the D-Day landings. All right, so showing us some of the sample units here. Talking about the counter definitions. So that was one of the things that that I had kind of heard kind of rumbles about this game, is that it's like initiative based, where it's basically more along the lines of, once you've got the initiative, once you've got like the momentum, it's only the player with the momentum is going to actually be able to do stuff. The other player has to actually be kind of like reacting, is what I kind of understood from this. Just like opportunity fire, my understanding with this is it's not where in most games, most hex and counter games, you'd have a unit enter a hex and then defenders would get to take opportunity fire. And then when that unit moves to another hex, say even in the same turn, other defenders could take opportunity fire. This does things a little differently. So kind of cool. So Rob Moffat says, I'm in Wargame heaven right now. And also says, I did squad leader, but never advanced squad leader. Yeah, and I've got nothing really against multi-man publishing. It's just, it's the point where I only have so much time in the day that I can game. And I think that's like everybody else. I probably have more free time to be gaming than most people do. But still, I don't want to invest my time into something that I'm gonna have to learn a rule book that's this thick. So no. I'll tell you right now, this rule book is not very long. Maybe 20 pages. We'll find out. So we got game terms and definitions, force organization, terrain. Talking about stacking. Player may stack a maximum of 3 squads, 2 machine gun sections, 2 vehicles, 1 towed gun, 1 FP. I'm not sure what an FP is. And 2 non-vehicular, non-combat units, such as platoon leaders, in a single hex. Riders or passengers do count toward the stacking limit. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So we got the terrain there. Got different buildings. Urban roads, rivers, bridges, fortified position. That's what the FP is. Fortified position. Line of sight, concealment, sequence of play, activation phase, reaction. See, as I was talking about, I think only the player that's got the initiative gets to activate. So it says the activation phase consists of the active player, the player winning the initiative. There you go. Activating his platoons sequentially. And then we've got reaction, which is the defender getting to do some stuff. Got different actions. Got mandatory actions. Got maneuver actions. Non-maneuver actions. Withdrawal. Better not be doing that. You're going to be losing. Got vehicular motion, overrun. So we got our fire actions here. Got mortar fire, anti-tank fire, fire resolution, assaults. One thing I should mention that I'm a little surprised at that we don't see more of is an approach to war games like Academy Games did with Conflict of Heroes, where their rule book would introduce some really basic concepts of the game, and then you play a scenario. And then they would add something else into it, and you play a scenario. And you just build upon what you've learned in each game, which is a very, very typical computer game sort of thing, or even video game sort of thing, where, especially if you play strategic games on PC or consoles, where it's like, okay, well, you're going to be introduced to this concept. Now you get to play a little bit. Oh, now you've learned how to do that. Now we're going to introduce a new concept. I'm surprised we don't see more of that. And I wonder if that's kind of falls into the fact that GMT does a lot of the P500. So P500, it's not every single release from GMT goes P500, but almost every single one. So a lot of times it's, I guess, probably because GMT's not positive if that series is going to take off. So, you know, they might release one, like for an example here, the last 100 yards. They don't know how this system is going to go over with fans. So Rob Moffat says, Avalon Hill was the first company I know of who did graduated learning. Didn't they do that in Squad Leader? I could have swore. It's been decades since I played, but I could have swore. That Squad Leader did that because it was sort of like, oh, okay, so here you're going to play the scenario and it's just some squads of infantry. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to add in like support weapons. And then, oh, okay, now we're going to add in vehicles. Then there's other stuff like, you know, mortars and air support and stuff like that. So, all right, so we've got, okay, so I lied. I thought it was maybe less than 20 pages, but it is 28 pages, but 2 of the pages are basically the index. So those are the rules for last 100 yards. Then we have the playbook. Playbook seems to be thicker than the rule book, actually. So here we go. Here comes some rules examples. Nice. Very nice. This is what when I was talking about in my review last night of Traveler Ascension Imperial Warrant, this is the kind of thing I was talking about, which would have been really, really beneficial to players, is if there were some more examples of play like we see in a playbook from GMT. So Rob Moffat says the graduated learning he first encountered in Starship Troopers. I had Starship Troopers. I didn't play it a ton, though. It just, to me, it was a little light, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. That's one thing Avalon Hill did not necessarily do very well, especially like earlier in, say, the 80s, the early 80s. I would say that like their science fiction games were kind of weak. Okay, so we've got some examples of withdrawal or retreat, overruns, shoot and scoot. What else do we have here? Units on the same level, units on different levels, line of sight when on urban roads, platoon activations. Wow, it's almost like here's examples of everything that you can be doing. Halt and fire, enfilade, against a firing unit as a result of crossfire against a maneuvering armored fighting vehicle. Got simple fire resolution, complex fire revolution, resolution and assault acts. Then we move into assaults. Combined force assault, vehicle destruction attempts, extended examples of play. As Rob points out, loves the GMT playbooks. I tend to read the playbooks before I read the rule books. I find reading the playbook helps me understand the rules a little bit better, rather than just jumping into the rules and then reading the playbook. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I don't know. So Rob Moffat says they did 2 versions of Starship Troopers. Yeah, I'm talking about the original one where it's showing like the troopers in these like almost like armored suits, almost like Iron Man's first armor, parachuting down onto the planet. So, yes, I did not. I never played the second adaptation they did based on the movie. So we've got infantry and mortars. Then we're getting into game turns. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Plenty of images. That's a good long example of play. So that was infantry. Now we're going to get into examples for armor. A few turns there. Then we got some designer notes. What am I doing here? The time-lapse system. Although technically LHY does not employ game turns, it uses a mechanic called time-lapse. This mechanic specifies that at the end of each game turn, players make a die roll to determine how much time has passed. Depending on the die roll, time-lapse may vary from 2 to 5 minutes. Huh, that's interesting. Huh. All right, so, and then looks like we got some really solid designer notes here about every aspect of the design. Sweet. Very cool. Nice. And then looks like we've got a unit capability table on the back. So that is the playbook. Book rocked, movie blah. I thought the first movie was all right. I thought it was okay. Hey, Led Magnet's here. Good to see you, Led. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got some counters. We've got the map boards. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can take a closer look at the counters here. All right, so whoa, we got looks like we got 4 sheets, 4 punch boards of counters. So we've got, this is the front of the first sheet. So we got the US of A here. So okay, so this, I don't know. I don't know what other folks think. So I don't mind the side view for the infantry. Everybody's going off about Starship Troopers being like Melrose Space, spaceships 90210. So, but that I don't mind that in like say a company or platoon level. I do mind it with the vehicles though. I would prefer to see top down. That's just me. I just would prefer to have a top down, especially if it turns out the rules have like, facing. Any specifics regarding facing, just like we used to have, like for an example, I know I'm talking about Squad Leader a lot, but quite a few different war games will have like turret counters for the tanks. So the facing of the turret as opposed to the facing of the actual tank itself. Pretty cool artwork. I like the artwork. And these are pretty big. What, at 3/4 of an inch? Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch. So sweet. I like that. Oh, so we've got reduced strength on the back here. So it shows carrying off somebody wounded. We've got fewer soldiers here. Okay, so that is this is the first counter sheet. Then we got the next counter sheet. These are the Germans. Kind of same layout as the Americans. So we got a good selection of armored fighting vehicles. Nice. Yep, so that's cut pretty good because all I did was flip this over and the counter came flying out. Came zipping out and this one poked out too. Good deal. All right, so all together we've got 2 counter sheets of units. It looks like these are informational counters from here on out. So we've just got a bunch of different colors with different positive and negative numbers here. That's the front and that is the back. Not sure what these will do, but of course once we start checking out the rules we'll know. And then we've got another counter sheet. Looks like we've got some officers here. Maybe not. No, I guess these are just no, these are all informational. I thought because I saw the silhouettes of the soldiers and stuff on here that maybe that was, they were more units, but they're not. So we got smoke, assault, overrun, fire actions, time lapse 1 minute, time lapse an hour. There's the big initiative. So US with the initiative. I'm sure it's going to be the Germans on the other side. That it is. All right, so we've got that. So we got those. We'll zoom back out a little bit because we've got some player aids. We got a bunch of them. Quite a few player aids. So, oh, these are the missions. These are mission sheets. So we've got On Their Own, The Dark Woods. At least it's quiet here. Chance Encounter. So we've got 4 scenarios just on this one sheet here. So we got mission 5, Counterattack at Hatton. Tiger in the Pen is mission 6. The Sickle. Black Cat Blues. So now these are looking like these are bigger because now we're starting to use 2 maps here. So we got A Tough Nut to Crack is mission 9. Hold at All Cost. Desperate Measures. Wow, this is actually pretty big here. It's taking up the whole sheet, and it's going to take up 4 maps. And yes, we thought maybe we could go through a night for a change lately without Pinky coming down and complaining, but no, that just will not be the case. I don't know what's with her lately. She likes to come down and just, make some noise. Hey, don't forget I'm here. Because she's coming down to, her food is down here, so she's coming down to get the food. I was like, yeah, why do you have to caterwaul when you come down to get the food? So that's mission 12. And then we've got a DYO mission form. DYO mission tables. All right, so cool. We got 12 different missions here. Okay, so we've got a couple of player aid cards. So we've got reaction, fire procedures, overrun procedures, small arms and mortar fire resolution, anti-tank fire resolution, assault resolution, mortar fire procedure, and mortar fire extension. And then we've got activation phase, activation, and mandatory actions. It says the active player, example, the player winning the initiative, must conduct actions with units of an activated platoon during step 1 of the platoon activation cycle. When those units are heroic or shocked, disrupted or regrouping, and in line of sight of an enemy unit, vehicles in motion, vehicles in range and line of sight of an unconcealed enemy unit capable of conducting anti-tank fire. Those are mandatory actions. So we got 2 copies of the player aid cards. We've got 2 copies of combat table. So we got small arms, mortar fire, anti-tank, minefields, terrain tables. Pretty cool. Blind hex table. Stacking limits. There we go. Tells you all about the stacking. Cool. Looks like, geez, almost everything's going to be laid out on these cards. Probably don't have to go too far into the rules here. Paul Nolan says, love me some tables. So we've got 2 copies of this. It looks like we've got a tracking sheet. Yep. So we've got the time track running along the side here. Looks like we've got a casualty track. Random event table. Fate table. That's interesting. Coordination. Mortar support pending. Wow, there's a lot of stuff about mortars in this, I'll tell you that. Then we got a sequence of play. Cool. And this is just single-sided here. Then we got a bunch of paper maps. And these look really nice. And these are actually cardstock. And they're dual-sided. So these aren't just paper. These are really nice. It's because, a lot of times usually GMT paper maps are paper. A lot of times they have a bit of a finish to them, but that's pretty cool. This is where when I was looking at the maps, this is where I was thinking, wow, this does kind of look a little bit like Squad Leader. But actually, I take that back, because if I remember correctly, I think Squad Leader was actually a little more telescoped in. So buildings actually took up more than like one hex. But like I said, it's been so long since I played Squad Leader. But yeah, definitely dig these. These maps are pretty cool. And then it looks like we've got like elevation lines throughout here too. Huh, that's pretty wild. Very nicely done. Okay, so that this is more of like a town. And then here we've got like a little more of a forested area. Maybe this is supposed to be a farm or something there at the crossroads. Yeah, that's a good place for an ambush, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rob says this art looks pretty good. Yeah, I certainly agree on these maps. There are quite a few maps too, so that's 2 there. Looks like maybe we got 8. Okay, so this is just kind of forested. Looks pretty flat. One thing I should point out with these, what appear to be elevation lines, those might kind of be a pain in the butt as far as playing with. I don't know. We'll have to see. So that could create some problems, because you'll really have to pay attention to those elevation lines, because being at the same height as far as when you're attacking and defending. Okay, so then we've got now that's definitely a farm, so we can tell these are supposed to be fields. All right, looks like hills around that farm as well, so we got that. All right, and more farms. It's like we got some more fields here. I would think maybe if this goes over pretty well, that we would maybe see something along the lines of maybe more urban related in the future from this system. But, you know, like I said, you never know. You never know. So, it's almost like this is fortified with... Maybe this is supposed to be... Well, that wouldn't be... No, I was going to say maybe it's France, but no, that's not... Those aren't hedgerows. So, yeah, it looks like almost like a little walled village almost. I don't know. Kind of cool, though. Yeah, I definitely like these maps. These are really nice. I could see trying to use them for other games. No joke. No joke. All right. What is this? We still have 3 more. Okay, so we've got this one here. And then it looks like more farms here. Although I gotta admit, these are starting to kind of look a little more of the same. Okay, here we go. Here's something completely different. Here we got a river. It looks like a little village of some sort. That's very cool. As soon as I said, these are kind of looking to be a little same old here. All of a sudden it's like, okay, that's different. So Rob Moffat says this will be interesting to see the designer's take on the subject matter. Yeah, because it does seem like it's different. It doesn't strike me as being the, you know, same old kind of stuff that we encounter. Because I mean, you know, let's be honest, as wargamers, and I know there are some folks out there who are watching who are more serious wargamers than I am. Although I consider myself pretty long in the tooth wargamer. There's stuff that it's like, yeah, okay, I've seen that before. That's not, you know, it's nothing revolutionary, nothing super different. This looks like this is different. This really does look different. I'm just kind of curious as far as the complexity level, because GMT indicated I think it's a 6. We'll take a look at the back of the box. Because I swear it's like a 6 out of 9. Rules look like they might be a little bit of a bear to jump into. So Paul Nolan says, I would use those maps for a lot of games too. Yeah, right. I mean, they do look pretty cool. So all in all, what was there? 8? So there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6. Okay, so altogether we got 12 different maps because they're dual-sided. So that's pretty cool. So we got those. We've got the casualty track. Got a couple of copies of the combat tables. Let's pop out a little bit more. Got 2 copies of the player aid card. I have to admit, for a $59 MSRP, this seems pretty packed. Packed with goodness. We've got 12 different scenarios. Some are little, some are small, just single map. Some are big, taking up 4 maps. So we got that. We've got 4 counter sheets, 2 of which are units, or mainly units. We got the Germans, we got the Americans. We've got the playbook. We got the rules of play. We got the patented GMT baggies. And the 4 multicolored 10-sided dice. And that's what we find when we take everything from the last 100 yards outside the box. So, as I pointed out, this game is available now because it just showed up on my doorstep. So, we know it's out. And it is for 2 players. Here, let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at the complexity level. Because I could have swore it's a 6. It is a 6. It certainly is. It is a 6 out of 9. Solitaire suitability says it's 6 out of 9. I don't know. Did it really look like... I don't think I saw something where it said it was like solitaire rules. But anyway, do want to point out the last 100 yards is available now from GMT Games. It's for 2 players, ages 14 and up. Plays about 2 hours or more, depending on the scenario you're playing. And it does carry the MSRP of $59. As I always say, when it comes to GMT Games, if you have any interest in possibly picking up the last 100 yards, you want to do so, because we don't see huge print runs from GMT. They sell out rather quickly. This does seem like a unique new system. Looks like new mechanics and stuff. Doesn't look like kind of the same old hex and counter kind of gameplay that we see, say, from a company that I make fun of all the time that doesn't even play test their games. I'm not going to name by name tonight, but it's all garbage. It's all just rehashing stuff from the 70s. This does not look like that. This looks like something fairly unique. So I am going to dig on into this. Probably be about 3 weeks before I have a review. Maybe even a little more than that, because if I do go to Origins, we'll see what happens. Anyway, but other than that, one last thing that I did want to talk about is, I had mentioned this on yesterday's show. I'm actually going to put a page up. It'll be Friday. Probably after I do the show on Friday. I'm going to put a page up. I'm going to have some games that are available for purchase to see if I can kind of, finance my trip to Origins. There will be some GMT titles. There will be some role-playing games. There will be some regular family games. There'll be a good mixture at pretty good prices. It's not going to be like pennies on the dollar kind of stuff. But then again, I don't beat my games up. A lot of times, some of the games, even when I do like the games, they get at the table maybe 3 times. That's it. That's all they get played. And I do not allow people to mess with my games. For an example, I will have my limited edition of Ghosts of Saltmarsh for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons available on that list. I'm not going to do an auction. I'm just going to have it where, somebody wants something at that price, fine. I'm not going to sit there, trying to do an auction, be like, oh yeah, okay, bid against each other. Nah. So Paul Nolan says no cross-country review. No. In fact, there's no way I'd get this played this week or early next. All right, so Rob Mob says, I bet you play zillions of games. No, I don't play zillions of games. I play a good number. I am nowhere near, say, Tom Vassell. Tom Vassell plays tons of games. The the guy who does Man vs. Meeple, who I really don't like, who I think is a shill. I don't think they play a ton of games, actually. They just make a ton of game videos. But you got to keep in mind, too, a lot of reviewers out there, they'll play a game once, or they'll play a game for a little while, a few minutes, and then make their decision and do their review. I don't do that. That's why I don't play as many games as a lot of other reviewers out there, because I do my best to do 3 plays before I do a review, because there have been tons of games. First time I played it, I was like, what? And it turned out, completely had a rule wrong. Or we weren't doing something right in the game. Ironed that out, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, you know what? This game actually is really good. So, it does happen. Anyway, so that is it for tonight's show. As I mentioned, on tomorrow's show, we are going to take a look at, unless things change, which sometimes they do, we're going to take a look at Cyberpunk 2020 from Artelsorian Games. Sammy's supposed to be doing a review of this for me. I'm still waiting on that, but we will take a peek. Nefarious Coel's popping in right at the end of the show. Good to see you, Nefarious. Anyway, as I like to point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody in chat, thank you so much for popping in for another War Game Wednesday, keeping me company. I always appreciate that. We actually had a new person jump in and hang out, probably for about 10 minutes, and went, man, I hate this show. I'm getting out of here. Ran off. Hey, you never know. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, so. But thank you so much for hanging out in chat. Everyone who watched live, thank you for watching. And of course, if you're watching after the fact, a big thank you as well. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. I will be back tomorrow. Take care, gang. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.